Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, we talk about pregnancy, we talk about motherhood, we do things kind of eco-friendly, kind of natural. We are all about the positive mindset. I created a positive mindset flip book that has you do prompts when you're about to go to bed, or when you're about to nurse your baby. Put this in your kitchen and have positive thought prompts for the day, or anytime that you just don't want to scroll, like if you're trying to get off your phone. That's kind of what it was created for. They're geared towards your relationship, towards your relationship with your kids, and trying to keep it in a positive light. HEYSHAYLA.com/shop. I am on Instagram, Hey Shayla. I have a podcast, Hey Shayla. I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old. Today I'm going to talk to you about the co-sleeping situation, because if you follow me, you know that we're co-sleepers. And you know that this was my biggest concern and fear when having a third. I was like, how are we going to sleep? With my first, she had a crib to start, but it ended very quickly because I was nursing her to sleep. So I was like, let's just put your bed on the floor. And then I learned that floor beds are like a Montessori thing. So then we started doing that. So I would always nurse her to sleep on her floor bed. She would take her naps there and she would start the night there. And then she would move into our bed eventually. When I was about to have my second, I was like, how are we going to co-sleep with two? So we sleep trained my first, where like we could put her in her bed and she would go to sleep on her own. And I was like, what is this voodoo? Because there are some major pros and cons to co-sleeping. One of them is that like you can't get up early if you wanted to. Typically, when you wake up, your kids wake up. Now that I have more kids, when one wakes up, they all wake up. And sometimes I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? But for me, I love the closeness. It feels like we're bonding. I don't know. There's just a lot that I love about it. So I'm like, we're going to do it. We're going to do this. You have to consider, like, do your kids move around a lot in the night? Do they wake up to the other siblings crying? Mine don't move that much, and they do not wake up to the other ones crying. Very rarely. Or like in the morning they will. But like in the middle of the night, no. So right now we have like a family bedroom, basically. We're up in the attic, if you can't tell. I'm sitting on our king bed, and then over there is like this nook, and then there's like a window in there, and there's a queen bed in there. Because when we got pregnant with 3, I was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? They can sleep with each other. They can comfort each other. That can be the thing. We would start the night in there, where I would put them down, they would fall asleep, and then usually one or both of them would end up in my bed. And I was like, how are we going to do this with 3? But I didn't want to sleep train again. Before we get into everything, I want to take a quick pause to talk about the sponsor of this video. Element! Element is an electrolyte. These are amazing for postpartum when you're breastfeeding and you need to stay hydrated. They get my sweet craving, but without sugar. So the other stuff I was using, my midwife is like, kind of a lot of sugar in here. I don't know that I would have that. They have sodium, potassium, magnesium. Magnesium is amazing postpartum. It's so good. With my link, if you buy anything, you will get a free sample pack so you can try all the flavors. My favorite is citrus and grapefruit because I kind of like the tangy, not so sweet. My husband's is orange or watermelon or raspberry, a little bit sweeter. I actually was using them for about a year before I partnered with them, and I was like, yes, I would love to partner with you. I use you every single day. Go check it out, get yourself a pack, and then try the sample pack so you can try all the flavors and figure out which one is your favorite. Thank you, Element, for sponsoring this video. My husband was working shift work where he was not home for bedtime and he was not home overnight, so I was like on nights by myself. Now he is. So now he can like sleep with one of them. We could sleep separately. My second, Esme, has not really been able to get her naps in. It hasn't been a huge priority for me, and she also has major FOMO. So she doesn't want to go up in the middle of the afternoon and go take a nap. So she gets pretty fussy at the end of the day. So we started bumping her bedtime up like an hour. So I would come up with her and the baby and do bedtime. An hour later, Seth would come up with our oldest and they would go do bedtime over there. Like, I think they like the one-on-one. It's a little bit easier to have them separate. This might be the ticket for us. So even on the nights where we all go to bed at the same time, we separate them. It does seem to work pretty well. Oh, with my first, we did sleep train her where we could put her in bed and she would go to sleep. Then my second was born. My husband would sleep with her mostly, but then he had to go back to work and he was working nights and it just wasn't working. She got sick. She ended up coming back into the bed. And I know this because I take pictures of my kids when they're sleeping. So I look back on the pictures, and around 4 months is when we all started sleeping together again, which worked just fine. I have a whole video on like the logistics. Basically, I just keep one baby on one side and the toddler on the other. If I have to switch sides to like nurse, I just football hold that toddler over. That's it. But basically what our nighttime looks like, we do either bath time or dinner, and then we come upstairs, we brush teeth, we put on jammies, we pick our books, we lay down separately. I nurse him on this side and hold Esme on this side, read books, do our prayers, sing our song until she falls asleep, and then she falls asleep, and then that's it. I usually go downstairs with him because he's young enough still that he just kind of like stays sleeping through everything. So I go downstairs, hang out with Seth for a bit, and then him and I come upstairs and go to bed, and that's pretty much it. However, I have volunteered to do bedtime solo. like 2 or 3 times, and I had to do it like 3 times when Seth was sick with the flu and we didn't want anyone else to get it. Not sustainable, but I lay him on my belly either while he's sleeping or he nurses and lays across me. Then I have one girl here, one girl here. We do the books, we do the prayers, we do the stories, we go to bed. Usually Esme, my second, will fall asleep first, and then I can kind of like shimmy away, and then I can put him on this side, and then I'll lay with my oldest until she falls asleep. Everybody eventually falls asleep, so if you have to do this, just try and stay calm. The more amped and like go to sleep you get, the longer it will take. Everyone just gets more agitated. Sometimes I do have to give a stern like, it is time to go to bed, girls. Keep singing, just keep singing. Stay calm. Everyone eventually will fall asleep. That's what I just tell myself. I'm like, in like 20 minutes, hopefully, we're all going to be sleeping. But until then, it's going to be a little bit of a shit show. If I do have all of them, I will move Aaliyah over to her bed. Esme the second stays here, and then the baby goes wherever I go. And then overnight, she stays sleeping until the morning, as long as Seth's in there, because she gets cold and she just wants to snuggle up to someone. She was waking up at 5 a.m. to have a squeezer, or like an applesauce pouch, and then fall back asleep for like an hour and a half. But I would forget sometimes, and then she'd be up at 5 a.m. and I was like, this is not sustainable. The dentist hated it, so I was like, let's try and cut this. Seems like a good time to cut it when I have it at work. So we've been cutting that. We've been having some very early mornings, so that's not been fun, but I think we're on the other side of that. Like 6:45 today instead of 6. So I think we're kind of moving past that. And then he wakes up like once or twice in the night. But I swear, co-sleeping is how I get the most sleep. I feel so terrible for these moms that are not getting any sleep, that are doing like the rocking chair and like getting up out of bed to nurse their kids. Like I couldn't even tell you how many times he wakes up, because he wakes up, I give him a boob, we both fall back asleep. I have podcasts on how to do this safely, how to co-sleep safely, because you do want to do it safe. There's like 7 things that you want to make sure that you have. Safe Sleep 7, I think is what it's called, by La Leche. Oh, and I have another podcast about the biology of it. Your sleep cycles sync with your baby, and there's like a cuddle curl that you can do so you're not gonna roll over on your baby. I just remember with my first, I was so scared, but once I like got confident with it, I got so much sleep. Like it's just the secret. That shouldn't be a secret. And some people can't sleep with their babies. I can't sleep without my babies. It's gonna be a problem when eventually I have to. Some people who work like doing it because they feel like they can connect with their kids and snuggle them all night. Some people work and they're like, there's no way I could have a kid in my bed. So everyone's different. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just saying, for me, it is the solution to life. We have fairly easy night times. I actually love our night times. Sometimes they're really difficult. For the most part, I love just snuggling them and talking about our day. And they've been in floor beds since they were born, so it's not like this issue of like, get in your bed, because I sleep with them until they fall asleep. So it's a huge commitment. Like every night, it's an hour and a half or something. There's not just like a drop off and go do something else. But I love it. And if you're like, that sounds insane, please don't do it. My midwife actually recommended like a side crib. That's actually what's behind me, this thing. The whole like side zips down, and you can have them next to you. I swore I'd do it with both my second and my third, and just have not done it. It's there, so like I can put them somewhere while I'm putting the jammies on the girls. But that's another option if you're like, absolutely not. There are a couple safe options for like to keeping them close but not in the bed. I hope this was helpful. I was gonna do a tour, but I feel like that's the gist of it. There's a king bed here. There's a little like tiny room with no door over there that a queen bed fits in great, and that's what we do. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys all next time. Mwah. Bye.